All right, this is Tornado Bearstone from Gentle Savage, and you're listening to 89 FM Rock Radio. So cool you've been listening to this show, and hope you dig Rock Radio, hope you dig Gentle Savage. And once again, I'm Tornado Bearstone, hoping to see you at a venue close to you, baby. Rock on!
Fala galera, beleza? Eu sou o Wendell Correia e hoje eu vou conversar com o Tornado Bearstone, o vocalista e líder da banda finlandesa Gentle Savage, que lançou um álbum novo, né? O álbum de estreia dele chamado Midnight Whaley. Vou falar com ele sobre isso, sobre o futuro da banda também, um pouquinho sobre o Brasil, música em geral, tudo isso com exclusividade para 89 a Rádio Rock. How are you, man?
I'm fine, thank you. It's been a busy day. I just came out from the cold swimming session, so I'm wearing a little warm clothes now. So,
it's the vocal warm-up.
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, I do it sometimes twice a day. It's not only for the warm-up, but you know, I live here by the countryside, and I have this ranch, and I did some timber lumberjack things, you know, cutting down trees and that sort of stuff. So you know, I get very sweaty, so it's really refreshing to go to the go for a dip and then, you know, talk with you. Yeah, it gives me a lot of energy. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever tried cold swimming?
I've never seen snow in my life.
Oh, well, next time you come to Finland, I'll teach you how to do it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. That's definitely not happened here in Brazil. Have you ever been in Brazil?
No, sadly, no. That's a big dream of mine, and of course for the band also. We're I don't know. There's something about Brazil that interests us. Not. I think it's like everything. The people, first of all. I have this idealistic or this idea of the Brazilian way of doing things, and you know, chilling out and playing music and dancing and having good times, which would be a really great experience for a Nordic guy like me or for the band, because we don't in Finland we do have festivals, but it's not quite the same as I've understood that the way you do it. And you still have a lot of connections between people who don't know each other, or you know, you can go dancing, talking, jamming. I have musician friends who have been to Brazil, and they say it's just cool to go, you know, anywhere and just start playing. It never happens in Finland.
Yeah, I believe you enjoy here. We are friendly people. We know how to party, especially live shows.
So cool, yeah. I've heard everyone who has done live shows in Brazil, they've just loved it.
And talking about your debut album, congrats for that.
Thanks.
How was the process of writing, recording Midnight Whaley?
Well, I wrote it during quite long period of time, and we recorded it in 3 sessions. First 2 songs, Karelian Magic and Honey Bunny, those were recorded first. I had to do it for several reasons with my friends, a couple of studio musicians, or 3 studio musicians. We didn't have the band running by that time, and there were some issues with the band, and so everything was scheduled. So I decided to use those studio guys, and it went out fine. And then the rest of the songs we recorded at another studio here in the Finnish Karelia. There's a brilliant studio in the middle of nowhere. It's called SF Sound Studio, and that's where we did 2 sessions. It was 4 songs per session, and our style of recording is quite quick. We do it like so to say, on the floor. So we just start playing, and it's 1 or 2, maximum 3 takes, and that's it. So usually the recording, I think the biggest problem is always about just having the right tempo and the groove and the feel. It's not like we don't process the songs afterwards that much. It's just the way we wanna we want to have the band sounding like it sounds when it's live. And of course, vocals, it's a bit different because we're staying in an expensive studio for days for doing the vocal lines and everything. That's quite expensive. So I do it here alone. I have very good equipment in my home studio. And so most of the songs were done at my home studio. Not all, but most of the 7 songs I did here alone. And then I sent the files to our mixing engineer, Jesse Bainio. He's a brilliant. He's a top guy. I think, well, in my opinion, he's the best in Finland, and many people think so. In fact, he doesn't make a number out of himself. No one really knows who he is, where he lives, but he mixes and masters the music, and he's an artist. And why we had him doing it was that I wanted to have the sort of 6th element. So I know a lot of good mixing engineers who they make music sound good and even brilliant, but it's quite generic, and I didn't want that. So by using Jesse, we had 1 element more because he's an artist also, and I gave him free hands. I said, okay, this is the arrangement, and I'm talking about the mixing arrangement, and then I said something. I might have said something like, okay, this is a really furious song, but we need to keep it soft, something like that. So he said, okay, I get it, and then he starts doing it. And the writing process, like I said, I think I wrote most of the songs between 2016 and 2019, but there are a few riffs like You Never Ask Me Why and Honey Bunny also. Those are quite old riffs, but building up a whole song, it's a bit different than just riffing out and showing the band, okay, let's do this, let's try this. But building up and arranging and doing all the pitching is a bit different. So that takes a lot of time for me. Sometimes not. So long answer to a short question. Sorry, but that's the way it goes with me. And sometimes the songs just happen. Like Honey Bunny, it's literally written in 10 minutes. Everything, like lyrics, melody, everything. It's 10 minutes. And then Into the Abyss, for example. I worked with Into the Abyss for at least, I'd say, a year or even more to get it right, and because Into the Abyss, it's a very different kind of a song than like Honey Bunny. It needs more thinking. It needs more the compository work and arranging, really getting into it. So that took a lot of time. So there's the spectrum, 10 minutes to 1.5 years per song. So that's it. That's the way it goes. And ideas, they just come from somewhere. I don't have a strategy. I know a lot of my friends who write music, they have a strategy. They go to their studio and they sit down and they start playing chords, and then they build up a song. For the most, I'm not built that way. I sit down, like this morning, I sat down with my guitar and had a cup of coffee and started couch jamming and played for a couple of hours. And then a few ideas clicked. And then I know that, okay, this is where I'm going to continue maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. And so it just sort of rolls and rolls and rolls.
The song Carry the Fire talks about carrying rock and roll flame alive, is that right?
Yeah.
And we have a question that I think it would be interesting to ask you. What did rock and roll teach you?
What did rock and roll teach me?
Yeah.
Attitude. That's the in my point of view, rock and roll is the essence of rock and roll is attitude, and attitude towards life. Um, okay, I'll talk what I think. It's the energy behind everything for me. Sort of, if I need to find energy to do anything, rock music is very much connected to it, and it's the same energy that is behind everything for me. And the attitude that I'm talking about is not like I'd go out doing wild or stupid things all the time. No, it's not. It's not about that. It's about the driving force. It's about connecting with people. It's about lifting up people, helping people. If you think about a rock show, what happens in a rock show? That's like pure inner fire that happens for the audience and for the band. It's the fire. It's the inner fire. It's the attitude. I'm fucking alive. Hey, look at me. Listen to me. See me. Hear me. Come on. And that's it's the same for me, I think, and for everyone. It's not only for the artists. It's for everyone. It's the attitude. Hey, come on. I'm alive. See me. Look at me. Hear me. Because all these well, let's talk about society versus rock and roll, or how rock and roll was born. It was rebellious back in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s, and that's the spirit. Let's think, let's change. I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. I'm going to do what I want. So that's the attitude. And like I said, it's not about, going out beating up people, or, smashing up things, or, abusing alcohol or drugs or whatever. It's not about that. You can do it if you want to. It's your business. I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but I'm saying that everyone should find the inner fire to do the things he or she wants to. And that's what rock and roll is about. Yeah. Good question. Thank you for that.
That's a great answer, too. And do you have a favorite track on the album?
I have to say that it's Into the Abyss, because that's the most personal song for me, in a way. There are two songs, Personal Hades and Into the Abyss, and those are like sisters or brothers. Those two songs, they talk about the same state of life that I was years ago, where I had didn't have much or many choices left. So I had to decide whether to, go on or, leave this fucking planet. And I survived. And that's the state that I talk about in the Personal Hades song. When you go really deep, you are pushed so down that you see no way out. And then Into the Abyss is the story where you go and face the demons, and then you sort of survive. You come out alive, and you see that, oh, it's a beautiful day when your heart finds the way. So in that sense, Into the Abyss is my favorite. But this is a very hard question, because all those songs have a character. They have a character of their own. So story-wise, it's Into the Abyss, but and as a composition, I think it's the fullest song. But like Carry the Fire, it's a very, I think it's a bit, it's not a very usual song, especially talking about the modern days. There's this special tuning in the guitar, and then we speed up in the end, and then we come back to the original click, and there's a lot of power also involved, because there's this Carry the Fire the theme or the topic. So that's a hard question, but I have to answer Into the Abyss in that sense. If Into the Abyss wasn't there, then I'd probably say that it's Carry the Fire. Yeah.
That's great. And how did you decide the track list order? And is there any song that didn't make it to the album? Any beside?
Yeah, there's one song. It's the Loving Ain't Easy. You can find it on the streaming services. Loving Ain't Easy didn't make it on the album because we're planning to release the vinyls when we get enough money to do that. And the vinyl length wouldn't allow it to, first of all, to put 10 songs, or the length would be too much. So we left it out from the album, but we're going to put it as a bonus track on the CD, the upcoming CD. And also, it's a bit different than the other songs. If you listen to Loving Ain't Easy, that is a kind of a song that we could have done back in 2015 or 14 when we started out in 2013. So it's a bit different. Also, as the style is a bit more like I don't know, southern rock or something like that, classic rock. So I found it also hard to sort of fit in there. It would have changed the whole concept of the album. Story-wise, also, it's a good story, but just couldn't figure out how to do it. Yeah.
And why the name Midnight Whaley? How did you decide it?
Yeah, Whaley means ambush, and many people don't know it. It's even people who speak natively English don't always understand what Whaley means. It's an ambush, and it's about this rock and roll magic thing, or the mythology around certain lyrics and the idea of predators. You know, when predators go hunting by night, they ambush, or they put up a waylay, and then they hit their. So a rock band is a kind of a hunting squad when they go out playing shows, and that's where the Midnight Waylay comes from. That it's not that dangerous as you know, we're gonna kill you all, but but there's still this danger element there, and yeah, it's a predator thing, I'd say, and it sounds good, and it looks good. I think it's a funny word. It's like, what's that? It looks different, and besides, if it would be Midnight Ambush, it doesn't sound good. Midnight Ambush. It's like, well, if we were AC/DC, we could have done that probably, but not. It's too, yeah. Waylay sounds better. Enough.
That's a great explanation, and a great name of the album as well.
Thanks.
And are you already working on a new album? Just enjoying the debut album?
I'm already doing new material, and we do have rehearsals tomorrow. Not the whole band. Our keyboard player lives in Holland, Amsterdam, so he's not participating to the rehearsals before we have shows booked, because it's quite expensive for him to come all the way here. And then usually we take 1 week to do the rehearsals, so it needs a bit fixing. But yeah, I'm writing already a new album, and we're trying to get this Midnight Waylay to people, so that you know, to get people connected and see what we're doing, and hopefully we get the new singles done. If I promise something, then it's a bit scary to promise something, but you know, when we're going to release the new singles. But I'm hoping, let's say so, I'm hoping that we could do 1 or 2 songs this spring. But in Finland, I don't know how it's in Brazil, but in Finland it's really expensive to record in a good big studio. We could do it here. We have equipment, but it's not up to the quality we're used to. So it takes a lot of money to do one or two songs even. So it's a kind of a money question also. But if we get the T-shirts and merchandise running, maybe we can do that, and I hope so. We get a few things coming, so we're hoping the best. And Midnight Whaley, since we haven't been able to play any shows because of the pandemic, I think it's good to continue promoting Midnight Whaley at least to the spring, and then maybe try to get some new music out. That's how we planned it so far. Yeah, and we're probably going a little bit heavier in the future. You're the first one to know it, because first, like I said, I don't plan too much what I write, but now I have seen what my subconscious brings out, so it's quite heavy, and we need to carefully arrange and do things that, because there's a lot of strange rhythms and the special tunings with the guitars and stuff like that. So soon we're gonna be a prog rock band or something if we're not careful. Yeah,
that's great. A great strategy to still promoting Midnight Whaley. It's
great.
I would do the same if I were a band.
Yeah.
And when did you decide to be a musician for a living?
Well, honestly speaking, I cannot say that I do this like full time. I do have a day job, but I've been doing this quite long, and I'd say that my life circles around music all the time, and it has been doing that for years, because my daytime job is also with musicians and actors and singers and so on. So it's been quite involved with music, quite a bit involved with music all the time. And my own decision, I think it was, I sort of lost the idea. I lost the fire for years, and then I found it in 2013, and we've been doing it since that quite actively. And there's been a lot of things going on. I'll tell you some other time, but you wouldn't believe if I told everything that's been going on. So it's been really slow process, but my decision to start doing it again with a real purpose was 2013, and yeah, it's about the fire and the energy, and if you lose the energy, I think you can do things, and you can even play shows and so on, but if you don't have the motivation and have the fire, no, it's not going to work. Yeah.
And do you remember your first show?
My first show. You mean like the first show, like?
It could be with Gentle Savage or your first show ever.
First show with Gentle Savage. Well, I think we played with Gentle Savage. We played somewhere, just a tiny restaurant somewhere in Finland, somewhere around where we live. I think it was. Oh no, it was a rock bar in Kuopio, where we live. Yeah, it was a rock bar. Otto Poika is the name of it. That's where we played the first show, and then right after we released the introduction EP, we played at the Rock Festival here in Kuopio. It's a very big festival here in the Finnish scale. It's big, 25,000-30,000 people. so per day. So it's a big festival in these circles. Yeah. So those were but my first ever what I could call a gig. That's probably from the high school or something, where we had a band, and we were drunk as skunks when we had to perform at some high school party, and we got kicked out of the show because we were so drunk or something. That's probably the first one, I think.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for our time. Sorry for the connection problem here.
No problem at all. Nice talking to you, man.
89, a Rádio Rock.